The warship descended through the clouds like a metal mountain falling from the sky. It was massive. The hull was black and covered with weapons that could turn cities into dust. Inside the ship, Commander stood at the viewing window and looked down at the small human colony below. "This is it?" he asked, his four eyes narrowing with disappointment. "This is what the scouts warned us about." The colony was nothing special. A few hundred buildings spread across a valley, farms, a small medical center, a school. Maybe 10,000 humans lived there, had expected something more impressive. "Sir," said his second officer, "the humans have refused our demand to surrender. They say they will fight." Laughed. The sound was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. His species had conquered 40 worlds. They were tall, strong, and covered in natural armor that could stop most weapons. A single warrior was worth 20 soldiers from other species. "How many defenders do they have?" asked. "Our scans show 12 armed humans at the colony entrance. Infantry, regular military." 12, laughed again. "I will send 200 warriors. It will be over in minutes." The dropships launched. 200 warriors flew down toward the colony, each one eager for battle. They had heard stories about humans, but they did not believe them. Humans were small. Humans were soft. Humans had no claws, no armor, no natural weapons at all. What could 12 of them possibly do? Sergeant Han watched the dropships land from his position behind a concrete barrier. He was 34 years old, with short black hair and calm eyes that had seen many battles. His squad stood around him. 12 soldiers total, regular infantry, nothing special about any of them. "Sir," said Private, a young woman with her rifle ready, "there are a lot of them." "I can count," Han said quietly. "What is the plan?" Han looked at his squad. They were not elite soldiers. They were not special forces. They were just regular troops who had trained hard and knew how to fight. That would have to be enough. "The plan is simple," Han said. "We stop them here. No alien sets foot in this colony." "Understood, sir." The warriors formed their lines. 200 of them stood in perfect formation, their weapons raised, their armor shining in the afternoon sun. Commander watched from his ship above, expecting to see the humans run away in fear. They did not run. Sergeant Han stood up from behind his barrier. He walked forward until he was clearly visible to the enemy. He showed no fear. Behind him, his squad took their positions with practiced ease. The commander on the ground was named Tor. He was young and eager to prove himself. He looked at the single human standing before his army and felt insulted. "One human dares to face us," Tor shouted. "Kill him." 20 warriors charged forward, their weapons firing. They were fast. They were strong. They had killed thousands of enemies across dozens of worlds. They died in 3 seconds. Han moved like water. His rifle barked twice and 2 warriors fell. He rolled left, avoiding their return fire, and shot 3 more. Behind him and the others opened fire. The sound was constant. Every shot found its target. Tor watched in shock as his warriors fell. "More," he screamed. "Send more." 50 more warriors charged. Han did not retreat. He walked forward directly into them, his rifle never stopping. A warrior swung a blade at his head. Han ducked under it, pressed his pistol against the warrior's chest, and fired. He used the falling body as a shield, shot 2 more enemies, then threw a grenade into a group of 6. The explosion scattered them like leaves in wind. "What is happening?" demanded from his ship. He was standing now, his eyes wide with confusion. "Why are they not dying?" Private had moved to a flanking position. She was small, even for a human, but her hands were steady and her aim was perfect. She fired once every 2 seconds. Every shot killed. Corporal was a large man with a heavy weapon. He set up behind a rock and started firing into the formation. The alien armor that stopped other species' weapons shattered like glass under his gun. "Their weapons are too strong," an officer screamed into his radio. Our armor does nothing. Impossible, said. That armor has protected us for generations. But the evidence was before his eyes. His warriors were dying, not slowly, not in a hard-fought battle. They were being slaughtered by 12 humans who moved and fought like nothing he had ever seen. Han threw his empty rifle aside and pulled his knife. A warrior twice his size charged at him. Han stepped inside the warrior's reach, drove his knife through a gap in the armor and twisted. The warrior fell. Han pulled the knife out and faced the next enemy. Fall back, Tor finally screamed. Fall back. But it was too late for many of them. The ground was covered with bodies. The survivors ran toward their drop ships, stumbling over their fallen brothers. Han and his squad let them go. The battle had lasted 9 minutes. 200 warriors had attacked. Less than 40 made it back to their ships. Commander stood at his viewing window, his body frozen with shock. His hands were shaking. In his entire military career, he had never seen anything like this. His greatest warriors had been destroyed by 12 regular human soldiers. Sir, his officer said quietly, what do we do now? Did not answer immediately. He was thinking about what he had just witnessed. Those humans had not fought like normal soldiers. They had moved too fast. They had been too accurate. They had shown no fear at all. We leave, finally said, now. But sir, we could send more warriors. We have thousands on this ship alone. No, turned away from the window. His 4 eyes were haunted. Those were their regular soldiers. Do you understand? Just regular infantry, not elites, not their best, just normal troops. The officer was quiet for a moment. Then what are their best like? Did not answer. He did not want to think about that question. The warship left orbit that same hour. It jumped to faster-than-light speed and fled toward home space. Commander would spend the rest of his life telling others about what he had seen that day. Some believed him. Most did not. But the warning spread anyway. Stories passed from ship to ship, planet to planet, species to species. Stories about the humans, about how 12 of their regular soldiers had defeated 200 warriors in minutes. And somewhere deep in those stories, a terrifying question began to grow. If those were the regulars, what were the special forces like? Back on the colony, Sergeant Han sat on the concrete barrier and cleaned his rifle. His squad was checking the battlefield, collecting weapons, and helping the wounded. Private walked over and sat down next to him. Sir, they are calling us heroes on the news channels. We are not heroes, Han said without looking up. We just did our job. 200 enemies, 12 of us, that seems like more than just a job. Han finally looked at her. His eyes were still calm, still steady. We are regular soldiers. This is what regular soldiers do. Remember that. Nodded slowly. She was beginning to understand something important. The galaxy had made a terrible mistake. They had thought humans were weak because they were soft and small. They were wrong. And now the galaxy was about to learn just how wrong they had been. The story of the defeat traveled fast. Within weeks, every spacer bar and trading station was talking about it. Within months, it had reached the far edges of known space. The details changed with each telling, but the core remained the same. 12 human soldiers had destroyed 200 warriors. Some species laughed and called it a lie. Others grew quiet and worried. A few, the wise ones, began to collect more stories about humans. What they found made them afraid. On the trading station Nexus 7, a retired captain named sat in a dark corner of a bar. He was old now, his armor faded and cracked with age. But his mind was sharp, and he had been gathering human stories for years. A young merchant sat across from him, buying drinks in exchange for information. Tell me about the humans, the merchant said. The real stories, not the lies. Drank deeply and began to speak. 3 years ago, he said, there was a bridge on the planet, a small stone bridge over a river. Not important, just a bridge. The army needed to cross it to reach a human settlement. 15,000 soldiers. I know the merchant said. Good fighters, disciplined. Yes, good fighters, leaned forward. One human soldier held that bridge for 6 hours. One, her name was a private, the lowest rank in their military. Impossible. That is what the thought. They sent squad after squad, she killed them all. They sent heavy weapons. She dodged and kept fighting. They tried to go around. The river was too deep, too fast. The only way was the bridge. What happened? After 6 hours, human reinforcements arrived. 30 soldiers. They pushed the back and saved the settlement. Finished his drink. 15,000 could not pass one human girl on a bridge. Think about that. The merchant was quiet for a long moment. That was one soldier. Surely they are not all like that. Laughed bitterly. Let me tell you another story. On a world called Taurus, a human transport ship crashed in enemy territory. The Kelvin Union found it first. They captured the survivors, 20 human civilians and one soldier, a corporal named. The Kelvin are not gentle with prisoners. No, they are not. They put the humans in a holding cell and waited for their commanders to decide what to do. The cell was underground, thick walls, heavy door, guards everywhere. They thought the humans were secure. They were not. Corporal asked the guards for food. They brought him standard prisoner rations. Took the metal food container, the water bottle, some wire from his jacket, and a small piece of stone from the floor. Within 2 hours, he had built an explosive device. The merchant stared. From food containers and wire. Humans call it improvising. He blew the door off the cell, killed 4 guards with his bare hands, stole their weapons, and led all 20 civilians through the enemy base to freedom. He did this alone. He was not special forces. He was not even a sergeant, just a regular corporal. How do you know this story is true? Because I was there, said quietly. I was trading with the Kelvin when it happened. I saw the destruction myself. I saw the bodies, and I saw the humans walking away. Across the galaxy, more stories spread. A human medic who fought off an entire raiding party while protecting wounded children. A human cook who took down a pirate ship using only kitchen tools and determination. A human mechanic who fixed a broken shuttle in the middle of a battle and then used it to save her entire unit. None of them were special forces. None of them were elite troops. They were cooks and medics and mechanics. They were the people who humans considered ordinary. The Galactic Council met in emergency session on the capital world of Centrum. The council chamber was a massive dome filled with representatives from over 500 species. They had come together to discuss a single topic, the human problem. Elder stood at the center of the chamber. He was ancient, even by the standards of his long-lived species. His skin was pale and thin, stretched over a frame that had seen 10,000 years. His voice was soft but carried to every corner of the room. We have all heard the stories, said. At first we dismissed them as exaggeration. Then we investigated. We sent observers. We collected data. And now we must face the truth. The chamber was silent. Humans are dangerous, continued. Not because of their technology. Many species have better weapons, better ships, better tools. Humans are dangerous because of what they are. They are adaptable beyond measure. They are creative beyond understanding. And they simply do not give up. An ambassador stood. We lost 200 warriors to 12 of their regular soldiers. I have confirmed this myself. Those numbers are accurate. A general rose next. One human female held a strategic position against 15,000 of my troops. I have seen the battle recordings. She should have died in the first minute. She survived for 6 hours. More voices joined in. More stories. More impossible feats performed by humans who were not special, who were not elite, who were just regular soldiers and civilians doing what they had to do. Finally, a young diplomat from a minor species asked the question that everyone was thinking. If their regular forces are this dangerous, what about their elite forces? What about the ones they call special? The chamber went completely silent. Looked down at his notes. We have very little information about human special forces. They operate in complete secrecy. No enemy who has faced them directly has survived to give a report. None. None, we have only indirect evidence. Entire pirate fleets that vanished overnight. Fortresses that fell without any record of battle. Hostage situations that ended with every enemy dead and every hostage unharmed. Paused. Whatever their special forces are capable of, it is beyond our ability to measure. The ambassador from the Kelvin Union stood. His species was known for their cruelty and their strength. They feared nothing, but even he looked worried. What do? We cannot simply ignore this threat. I suggest we do exactly that, said. We ignore them. We leave them alone. We do not threaten them, attack them, or give them any reason to consider us enemies. That is cowardice. That is survival. His voice hardened. I have lived for 10,000 years. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched species destroy themselves through pride and foolishness. I will not let that happen to us. The humans are not our enemies unless we make them our enemies. I suggest we choose peace. The vote was close, but it passed. The Galactic Council officially declared humans a protected species. No member world would attack human colonies. No member fleet would engage human ships. Humans would be treated with respect and caution. But not everyone agreed with this decision. In the dark corners of the galaxy, pirates and warlords and criminals heard the stories and laughed. They did not believe that humans were so dangerous. They thought the stories were lies told by cowards. One such warlord was a being named. He ruled a fleet of pirate ships from a hidden fortress in the outer systems. He had built his empire on violence and fear, and he did not fear anything. When he heard the council's decision, he laughed loudest of all. Protected species, he said to his lieutenants. The council is full of old fools. Humans are nothing special. They just got lucky a few times. The stories say otherwise, Lord. Stories are for children. I deal in reality. Smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Find me a human ship, any human ship. I will show the galaxy that these humans are just flesh and blood like everyone else. His lieutenants obeyed. They searched the shipping lanes for weeks until they found what they were looking for, a small human cargo vessel traveling alone through neutral space. Pirates captured it easily. The crew surrendered without a fight, was pleased. This would prove his point perfectly. But as his warriors searched the ship, they found something unexpected. One of the passengers was not a civilian. She was a soldier, a lieutenant. Her name was Sara. She was not regular infantry. She was something else entirely. And in his pride and his foolishness, had just made the worst mistake of his very long life. The council chamber was dark when Elder entered. Only a few lights glowed softly, casting long shadows across the empty seats. It was the middle of the night cycle, and the building should have been empty. But was not alone. 12 figures sat in a circle at the center of the chamber. They were the leaders of the council's intelligence services. Each one represented a different species, and together they knew more secrets than anyone else in the galaxy. They had asked for this meeting. They had asked for it to be secret. Took his seat among them. You said it was urgent. The spymaster spoke first. His name was Vex, and he had spent his entire life gathering information on potential threats. We have been investigating the humans more deeply. What we have found is troubling. More troubling than what we already know. Much more. Vex activated a holographic display. It showed images of destroyed ships, ruined bases, and empty battlefields. These are all incidents involving human special forces, or at least incidents we believe involved them. Studied the images. I see destruction. I do not see anything new. Look closer. Vex zoomed in on one image. It showed a pirate base that had been completely demolished. This fortress had 3,000 defenders, heavy walls, shield generators, anti-ship weapons. It should have been impossible to attack without a full fleet. And it fell in one night. No fleet was detected. No army approached. Our sensors recorded nothing. When morning came, the fortress was gone. Every defender was dead. The slaves they held were freed and transported to safety. Was quiet for a moment. Perhaps they had inside help, traitors. That is what we thought at first, but we investigated. There were no traitors. The fortress simply fell. Something came in the night, destroyed everything, and left. The intelligence chief spoke next. Her name was Commander Saul, and she had a reputation for being impossible to surprise. But tonight, even she looked worried. We have similar reports from our own records. 5 years ago, we had a research facility developing biological weapons. Very secret, very well protected. I remember, said, it was destroyed in an accident. That was the official story. The truth is different. Saul brought up new images. There was no accident. Someone infiltrated the facility, destroyed all the research, killed every scientist working on the project, and escaped without being detected. Our security systems recorded nothing. Our guards saw nothing. One day the facility was operational. The next day, everyone inside was dead. You believe humans did this? We know humans did this. We found one piece of evidence. Saul showed a small image of a playing card. This was left at the scene, a human deck of cards, the ace of spades. A cold feeling settled over the chamber. The ace of spades was a symbol. Some human military units left it as a calling card. A way of saying, we were here, and there was nothing you could do to stop us. The intelligence chief from the Kelvin Union stood. His name was Director Mal, and his people were known for their information networks. We have been trying to gather data on human special forces for decades. We have spent enormous resources. We have recruited agents, intercepted communications, and analyzed every scrap of evidence we could find. And what have you learned? Mal looked around the circle. His eyes were tired. Almost nothing. We know they exist. We know they are organized into small units. We know they train for years before they are considered ready. But the details of what they can do, how they operate, what their capabilities are, we know nothing. Nothing at all. We have theories, guesses, but every time we think we understand them, something happens that proves us wrong. Mal sat down heavily. They are ghosts. They come and go as they please. They do impossible things and leave no trace. If they did not leave bodies behind, we would not even believe they were real. Process this information slowly. He was old enough to have seen many dangerous things in the galaxy. He had watched empires collapse and species go extinct. But this was different. This was something new. If these are their special forces, he said quietly, then we have a serious problem. Yes, Vex agreed, we do. The regular humans are already dangerous. We saw that on the colony. We saw it on the bridge. We have seen it in 100 different battles across 100 different worlds. Stood and walked to the holographic display. Regular humans fight like elite warriors. They adapt. They improvise. They never surrender. But these special forces, they are something else entirely. They are not soldiers, Saul said. They are weapons. Living weapons that think and plan and create chaos wherever they go. Can we defend against them? We do not know. We do not even know how to begin planning a defense. Saul shook her head. How do you defend against something you cannot see, cannot hear, cannot detect until it has already killed you? The chamber was silent. These were the most powerful intelligence officials in the galaxy, and they had no answers. Finally, a voice spoke from the shadows. It was the representative from a small species called the Mir. They were quiet and often ignored in council politics, but their spymaster, an elderly female named, had been listening carefully. You are all asking the wrong question, she said. Every head turned toward her. The question is not how we defend against human special forces. The question is why we would ever need to. Vex frowned. Explain. Stood slowly. She was small and frail, but her eyes were sharp. Human special forces do not attack random targets. They do not start wars. They respond to threats. Every incident you have shown tonight has one thing in common. Humans were threatened first. She walked to the holographic display and changed the images. The pirate fortress. Those pirates had been raiding human colonies for years. The biological research facility. That facility was developing weapons specifically designed to kill humans. In every case, humans were attacked first. The special forces came after. That does not make them less dangerous, Mal argued. No, but it tells us how to survive. Looked around the circle. Do not threaten humans. Do not attack their people. Do not give them a reason to send their special forces. It is that simple. You make it sound easy. It is easy. The hard part is convincing the rest of the galaxy to follow this advice. Returned to her seat. There are always fools who think they know better, who think they can be the one to defeat humans, who think the stories are exaggerated. As if on cue, a message alert flashed across personal screen. He read it and his expression darkened. What is it? Vex asked. The pirate lord. He has captured a human ship. The chamber erupted in noise, everyone talking at once, but held up his hand for silence. There is more, he said. One of the passengers on that ship was a human soldier, a lieutenant. Her unit designation was not in our databases, but our analysts have just identified it. What unit? Looked at the gathered intelligence chiefs. His face was grim. Special forces. The silence that followed was absolute. Has captured a human special forces operative, said slowly. That fool, that absolute fool. We need to warn him, Saul said. We need to tell him to release her immediately. We tried. His communications are blocked. He does not want anyone interfering with his prize. Vex laughed bitterly. His prize. He thinks he has captured a trophy. He does not understand what he has done. What has he done? Asked a younger intelligence officer who did not fully understand. Vex turned to face the young officer. He has given a human special forces operative a reason to fight. He has surrounded her with enemies in a confined space, and he has made himself a target. Surely she is just one person. He has thousands of warriors. One regular human held a bridge against 15,000, reminded them. And she was just a private. This woman is special forces. She has training and skills that we cannot even imagine. The meeting was over. There is nothing we can do now. We can only watch and wait, and pray that stupidity does not bring human attention to the rest of us. As the intelligence chiefs filed out of the chamber, each one was thinking the same thing. The galaxy had lived in relative peace for centuries. Wars happened, but they were small and contained. The great powers kept each other in check. But humans changed everything. They were too dangerous to fight and too proud to conquer. The only option was to leave them alone and hope they left everyone else alone in return. And now a fool named had decided to poke the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Whatever happened next, the entire galaxy would be watching. And they would finally get their answer to the question that had haunted them all. What were human special forces really capable of? The answer, when it came, would terrify them beyond anything they had imagined. Lieutenant Sora sat in her cell and waited. The cell was small, stone walls, metal door, a single light that buzzed constantly overhead. She had been here for 6 hours, and in that time she had learned everything she needed to know. The guards changed every 2 hours. There were 4 of them outside her door. The walls were thick but old. The fortress had been built centuries ago and modified many times since. That meant there were cracks, weak points, places where the original structure did not quite fit with the newer additions. Sora was a small woman, short black hair, quiet eyes that noticed everything. She wore simple civilian clothes because she had been traveling undercover when the pirates captured her ship. They had taken her weapons, her equipment, her communication devices. They thought they had taken everything. They were wrong. The door opened and Pirate Lord entered. He was massive, 3 meters tall, with thick green skin and arms like tree trunks. His species was called and they were known for their strength and their cruelty. So, said, looking down at her, you are the human soldier everyone is talking about. Sora said nothing. She just watched him with those quiet eyes. My intelligence officers tell me you are special forces, very dangerous, very scary, laughed. It was an ugly sound. You do not look dangerous to me. You look like a child playing dress-up. Sora remained silent. I have killed many humans over the years. They all begged for mercy in the end. Will you beg, little soldier? No, Sora said, her voice was soft and calm, but you will. Stared at her for a moment, then laughed again. I like you. You have spirit. That will make breaking you more entertaining. He turned and left. The door slammed shut behind him. Sora counted to 60. Then she began to move. The first thing she did was remove a small piece of metal from her belt buckle. It looked like nothing. A tiny sliver of silver no bigger than a fingernail. But in her hands, it became a tool. She worked on the cell door for 20 minutes. Careful, patient. The guards outside heard nothing. When she was done, the lock was still in place, but it would open at her touch. Next, she examined the light fixture above her head. It was connected to the fortress power grid. She traced the wiring in her mind, mapping out the electrical system based on small clues. The hum of the light, the vibration of the walls, the warmth of certain stones. By the time the guards came to check on her, Sora knew the layout of the entire fortress. She knew where the power generators were. She knew where the armory was. She knew where the other prisoners from her ship were being held. And she knew exactly how she was going to destroy everything. She waited until midnight. The fortress was quieter then, fewer guards walking the halls, more shadows to hide in. The cell door opened without a sound. The 4 guards outside never saw her move. One moment they were standing at their posts. The next moment they were on the ground, unconscious. Sora did not kill them. Not yet. Dead guards would be noticed. Sleeping guards would not be checked until morning. She moved through the corridors like a ghost. Her feet made no sound on the stone floors. Her body cast no shadow in the dim light. She had trained for years to move like this, to become invisible even when standing in plain sight. 2 guards walked toward her around a corner. Sora pressed herself into a doorway and became perfectly still. They walked past her, close enough to touch, and saw nothing. The armory was her first target. It was guarded by 10 warriors and protected by electronic locks. Sora studied it for 3 minutes, then made her move. The first guard fell before he knew she was there. The second turned at the sound and caught a strike to the throat that dropped him instantly. The third raised his weapon, but Sora was already inside his reach. She used his own gun to shoot the 4th and 5th guards, then threw a knife that took the 6th in the chest. The remaining 4 guards opened fire. Sora was not where they aimed. She was moving constantly, flowing between them like water. One by one they fell. 15 seconds, 10 guards down. She opened the armory and selected her weapons. Not many, she did not need many. A rifle, a pistol, a few grenades, a knife. Then she went to free the prisoners. The other passengers from her ship were in a larger cell on the lower level. 20 civilians, scared and confused. When Sora opened their door, they stared at her in disbelief. "Lieutenant," said an older man, "how did you escape?" "No time to explain. Follow me. Stay quiet. Do exactly what I tell you." She led them through the fortress, avoiding patrols, hiding in shadows, moving in perfect silence. The civilians were not trained like her, but fear kept them quiet. They trusted her completely. When they reached the outer wall, Sora stopped. "Wait here." "Where are you going?" "To finish this." She left them in a safe hiding spot and went back into the fortress. This time, she was not hiding. This time, she was hunting. The first patrol she met died before they could raise an alarm. The second patrol managed to fire one shot before she silenced them, but that one shot was enough. Alarms began to sound throughout the fortress. Sora smiled. Was in his throne room when the alarm started. He had been drinking and laughing with his lieutenants, celebrating his capture of the human ship. The sound of the alarm turned his celebration into chaos. "What is happening?" he demanded. "The human prisoner has escaped, my lord. She has killed 17 guards." 17. One human killed 17 of my warriors. "Yes, my lord, and she has freed the other prisoners." Stood, his face was dark with rage. "Find her, bring her to me, use every warrior we have." His lieutenants obeyed. 3,000 pirates began searching the fortress. They expected to find a frightened human hiding in a corner. What they found was death. Sora moved through them like a storm. She was everywhere and nowhere. She struck from shadows and vanished before they could respond. She used their own weapons against them, turning every encounter into a massacre. The fortress began to burn. Sora had sabotaged the power generators. Explosions rocked the foundations. Fire spread through the corridors. Watch from his throne room as his empire crumbled. Warriors ran past his door, screaming about ghosts and demons. The fire grew closer. "My lord," his last surviving lieutenant said, "we must flee." "No," drew his massive sword. "I will kill this human myself." He did not get the chance. The door to his throne room exploded inward. Sora walked through the smoke, her rifle in her hands, her face calm and focused. "Hello," she said. "You wanted to see what special forces can do. Here I am." Charged at her with a roar. He was fast for his size, strong. In his entire life, nothing had ever stood against him. The fight lasted 4 seconds. Sora did not overpower him. She did not need to. She redirected his strength, used his momentum against him, struck at weak points he did not know he had. When it was over, was on his knees, his sword broken, his body bruised and bleeding. "You said I would beg," Sora reminded him. "I told you that you would." Looked up at her. For the first time in his life he felt fear, real fear, the kind that goes deeper than pain. "Please," he whispered, "please do not kill me." "I am not going to kill you," Sora said. "I am going to let you live. I am going to let you tell everyone what happened here tonight. I want the galaxy to know what happens when you threaten humans." She walked out of the throne room and left him there, alone in his burning fortress. By dawn, nothing remained of his empire. The fortress was ash. His fleet was scattered. His warriors were dead or fled. The 20 human civilians were safely aboard a rescue ship that had arrived in response to Sora's emergency beacon. They were going home. Sora filed her report from the rescue ship. Her writing was simple and direct. She described the mission as a minor inconvenience, a small delay in her travel plans, nothing more. When the Galactic Council received that report, they read it in silence. A single human special forces operative had destroyed a pirate lord, killed hundreds of warriors, burned a fortress to the ground, and rescued all hostages without a single civilian casualty. And she had called it a minor inconvenience. The council members looked at each other with haunted eyes. They finally had their answer about human special forces. They wished they had never asked the question. The Galactic Council chamber was full. Every seat was taken. Representatives from over 500 species had gathered for an emergency session. The air was thick with tension and fear. Elder stood at the center of the chamber. He looked older than he had just weeks ago. The weight of what he had to say pressed down on him like a physical force. "You have all received the reports," he began. "You have all seen the evidence. The pirate lord is finished. His fortress is destroyed. His fleet is scattered. 3,000 of his warriors are dead. The chamber was silent. One human did this. Let those words hang in the air. 1. A single Special Forces operative accomplished what our combined fleets could not do in 20 years of trying. She infiltrated his fortress alone. She killed his guards. She freed her fellow humans. She burned his empire to ash. And then she filed a report calling it a minor inconvenience. A murmur ran through the crowd. We have been fools, continued. We looked at humans and saw a young species, small, soft, no natural weapons, no special abilities. We thought they were weak. We thought they were prey. He slammed his hand on the podium. The sound echoed through the chamber. We were wrong. Humans are the most dangerous species this galaxy has ever seen. Their regular soldiers fight like elite warriors from any other species. Their special forces are beyond anything we can comprehend. And the worst part is that we still do not understand them. We do not know what they are truly capable of. The ambassador stood. What do you suggest? We have already declared them a protected species. We have ordered all member worlds to leave them alone. It is not enough. His voice was heavy. We need a new classification, a new law that makes clear exactly what humans are. He activated the holographic display. A single document appeared, floating in the air for all to see. I propose that we reclassify humans from protected species to extinction-level threat. The chamber erupted. Everyone was talking at once. Some were shouting, some were arguing, some were simply staring in disbelief. Waited for the noise to die down before he continued. Let me be clear about what this means. An extinction-level threat is not an enemy. It is a force of nature, like a supernova or a black hole. You do not fight it. You do not challenge it. You survive it by staying out of its way. This is ridiculous, shouted a warrior from the Dominion. They are just humans. We have fought them before. Have you? Looked at the warrior with sad eyes. Have you truly fought humans? Or have you simply encountered their regular forces and convinced yourself that you understand them? The warrior fell silent. One human regular held a bridge against 15,000 of your soldiers, reminded him. 15,000, and that was not their best. That was not even close to their best. What we saw at its fortress was their special forces, and there are more of them, many more, trained, ready, waiting. The chamber was quiet again. If we give humans a reason to see us as enemies, said, they will not just defeat us, they will destroy us. Not because they are cruel or evil, but because that is what they do. When humans decide something is a threat, they eliminate it, completely, totally, without mercy. The vote took 3 hours. There were arguments and debates and pleas for reconsideration. But in the end, the result was clear. Humans were officially reclassified as an extinction-level threat. Every species in the Galactic Council was bound by new laws that forbade any hostile action against human worlds, ships, or citizens. The penalty for violating these laws was immediate expulsion from the Council and loss of all protections. Word spread quickly. Within days, every intelligent being in the galaxy knew about the new classification. Pirates stopped attacking human shipping lanes. Warlords canceled plans to raid human colonies. Even the most aggressive species suddenly found reasons to be friendly to their human neighbors. Peace of a sort settled over the galaxy. 1 month later, a human diplomatic ship arrived at Centrum. The Galactic Council had requested a meeting. They wanted to establish official relations with humanity. They wanted to show that they came in friendship. They wanted to make sure humans knew they were not a threat. The human ambassador was a man named Han, the same Sergeant Han who had held off 200 warriors with 12 regular soldiers. He had been promoted since then. He wore a simple uniform with no medals or decorations. His face was calm and friendly. Behind him stood a small security team, 5 soldiers in standard human military gear, Regular infantry, nothing special about them. And one woman, short black hair, quiet eyes, a lieutenant's rank on her collar. Sora had been assigned to diplomatic security. After the incident with Human Command had decided she needed a less exciting assignment. Protecting an ambassador seemed safe enough. Elder greeted them at the council entrance. He was polite, respectful. He showed no fear, though his hearts were beating fast. Ambassador Han, he said, welcome to Centrum. We are honored by your presence. Han shook his hand. The human gesture was strange but had practiced it. Thank you, Elder. We are pleased to be here. I hope we can build a lasting friendship between our peoples. That is our hope as well, Han smiled. It was a warm smile, genuine and kind. Humans have no interest in war or conquest. We just want to live in peace, raise our families, and explore the stars. Then we have much in common. The diplomatic meetings went well. Trade agreements were signed. Cultural exchanges were arranged. Both sides spoke of cooperation and mutual respect. But throughout all of it, noticed that the alien representatives could not stop glancing at the human security team, especially at Sora. She stood quietly by the wall, watching everything with those calm eyes. She never spoke. She never moved. But everyone knew who she was. Everyone knew what she had done. And everyone was afraid. At the end of the final day, found a moment alone with Ambassador Han. May I ask you something? Said. Of course. Your special forces, the woman who destroyed, is she typical? Are they all like her? Han looked at Sora, who was standing across the room, cleaning her weapon with casual efficiency. She is good, Han said. One of our best, but she is not unique. We have thousands like her, maybe tens of thousands. Felt a chill run through him. And your regular soldiers, the ones who fought That was just my old squad, standard infantry. We have millions of regular soldiers. They all train the same way. They all fight the same way. How? Asked. The question had been burning in his mind for months. How do you create soldiers like that? What is your secret? Han was quiet for a moment. He seemed to be thinking about how to answer. There is no secret, he finally said. We are just humans. We do what we have to do to protect our own. We never give up. We never stop fighting. And when someone threatens the people we love, we become something more than what we were before. Something more. Something dangerous. Nodded slowly. He was beginning to understand. Humans were not dangerous because of their training or their weapons or their special forces. They were dangerous because of what they were, because of how they thought, because of what they were willing to do for each other. I think, said carefully, that the galaxy is very lucky you want peace. Han smiled again. Yes, you are. The human delegation left Centrum the next day. As their ship flew away, the Galactic Council released an official statement praising the new alliance with humanity. They spoke of hope and friendship and a bright future. But in private, every leader in the galaxy breathed a sigh of relief. The humans had accepted peace. For now. In her quarters on the diplomatic ship, Lieutenant Sora finished her report and filed it away. Her assignment was complete. The ambassador was safe. No incidents had occurred. She looked out the window at the stars passing by. Somewhere out there, other species were learning about humans for the first time. They were hearing the stories. They were watching the recordings of her raid on Fortress. They were asking the same question that everyone asked eventually. What were human special forces capable of? Sora smiled. They would never know, not really, because the truth was simple. Humans had no limit. They adapted. They grew. They became whatever they needed to become. And if the galaxy ever threatened them again, humans would show them just how limitless they could be. For now there was peace. But the special forces were always ready. Always watching. Always waiting. And somewhere in the back of every alien mind, a small voice whispered the same terrifying thought. The ones who protected a bridge and destroyed a fortress were just the beginning. If humanity ever truly went to war, the galaxy would burn. The new law stayed in place for 1,000 years. No one ever broke it.